Stop everything you're doing because what just exploded inside a courtroom makes every reality TV meltdown look like toddler tantrums. Imagine walking into a courthouse expecting a paternity hearing and walking out with handcuffs, sobbing confessions, and a judge ready to launch someone into jail like it's the Hunger Games. Ever seen a pregnancy bump go from prop to perjury in under 60 seconds? 'Cause that's exactly what Bambi pulled off in front of reporters, fans, and one very smug Stevie J, who came armed with the nuclear receipts. We're talking audio leaks, stolen sonograms, and a setup so twisted it makes Love and Hip Hop look like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And the gag. She didn't just fake a baby, she faked the entire narrative. Stevie J, the king of mess, sat back grinning like he directed the whole damn thing. Was this revenge? Was it sabotage? Or just peak 2025 clownery? And wait till you hear what VH1 allegedly did behind the scenes to milk the scandal dry. Buckle up, grab your popcorn, and turn off your sense of decency, because the tea we're about to spill is hotter than Bambi's mugshot under studio lights. This ain't an episode. It's a televised train wreck. You ever seen a courtroom so tense it felt like a ticking time? Bomb was about to go off because that's exactly what it turned into when Bambi strutted in with her designer bag, glossy nails, and that same smug smile she wore on reunion episodes like she owned the franchise. But today her sparkle didn't blind anyone. It exposed her the whispers were already circling, rumors of a faked pregnancy, of baby lies cooked up for sympathy and cash. But nobody expected the whole castle to crumble in front of a judge with Stevie J casually sitting in the back like the puppet master of chaos. And let's be clear, this wasn't your average family court squabble. This was the unraveling of a web of lies so bold, so stupidly confident, it could only belong to someone who believed they were untouchable. But here's the twist, turns out Bambi was never holding the cards. She was the deck, and Stevie J just shuffled her straight into a legal firestorm. It started when she claimed she was pregnant with Scrappy's baby, dropping tears on camera like she was auditioning for a soap opera reboot. The internet, of course, fell for it. Sympathy posts, "Stay strong, queen," comments flooding. In calling Scrappy trash for not standing by his woman, but behind the cameras, red flags were flaring. Scrappy's legal team had been building a quiet case, tracking every appointment, every test, every missed piece of paperwork they didn't want. To humiliate her, they just wanted the truth. But the truth wasn't just missing, it was in hiding, buried under layers of deceit and performance. And that performance took center stage the second the judge hit play on an anonymous audio recording, dropped in the night like a Molotov cocktail on legal letterhead. The voice was unmistakable. Bambi's tone cool, calculated, dripping in arrogance, saying she was never pregnant. She just needed to buy time, needed money, and knew exactly how to break Scrappy down emotionally and financially. She spelled it out like she was teaching a master class in manipulation, and the courtroom gasped. Stevie J leaned back, grinning like a villain in the final act of a scandalous season finale, and Scrappy, his face drained of color fingers, twitching with rage and disbelief. The judge didn't pause, he didn't blink, he ordered her remanded on the spot pending investigation for fraud and perjury. Bambi went from courtroom princess to cuffed defendant in under 60 seconds, screaming that it was all a setup, that Stevie framed her, but the evidence was louder than her excuses. And when the second recording dropped, the whole room lost its breath. A new voice entered the drama, a sobbing woman, not Bambi, not a castmate, a stranger confessing she didn't know her sonogram would be used in a scam. And then Stevie's voice slithered through the speakers, low, steady, telling her to shut up, sign the paper, take the money, and disappear. That was the moment the scandal cracked open like a rotten egg on hot pavement. Now, we weren't just talking about lies. We were talking about conspiracy, identity fraud, and an entire fake pregnancy orchestrated like a Netflix thriller. Stevie J hired a private investigator months before the court date, not to protect Bambi, not to help Scrappy, but to erase his own involvement. The same man who filmed heartfelt scenes about loyalty was busy, scrubbing evidence while whispering threats off camera. And when the investigator handed over that flash drive sealed and time-stamped, it wasn't just for backup. It was the final blow. Bambi froze. No Instagram filters, no fake tears, just pure panic as the courtroom devoured the truth like vultures on a carcass, and while cameras flashed outside with bloggers chanting, "Cancel her, Stevie," stayed quiet, smiling into the void like a man watching his plan unfold perfectly. Because here's what the world didn't know that entire narrative. The pregnancy, the tears, the TV moments was allegedly pushed and polished by VH1 producers. Themselves, one anonymous source claimed that a producer even encouraged Bambi to amp up the drama, offering bonus checks and screen time in exchange for vulnerability. But vulnerability wasn't what they got. They got a circus of deception, and as the judge reviewed evidence behind the bench, the doors swung open and in walked executives from the network. Tight-lipped, no cameras, no smiles, they weren't there. To support Bambi, they were there to distance themselves, because if it turns out the network filmed and aired scenes they knew were fake, that's a whole new level of legal. Hell, not just for Bambi, not just for Stevie, but for VH1 itself. And as lawyers scrambled to explain the recordings as deep fakes as AI trickery, the judge wasn't buying it. He demanded real evidence, real experts, and real accountability, and suddenly the scandal wasn't entertainment anymore, it was a crime scene. With designer heels and booking photos, fans outside waved signs mocking the storyline, calling out the fake belly, and reminding the world that justice might be slow, but it is brutal. Scrappy's team wasted no time filing emergency motions to recover funds lost from supporting a child that never existed. His lawyer stood firm, stone-faced, stating they had proof of intentional emotional manipulation and financial abuse. And now, Bambi wasn't just facing jail time. She was staring down restitution, lawsuits, image destruction, and complete public disgrace. And yet, as she was dragged out sobbing and screaming, one phrase stuck with everyone in the room. She didn't mean to hurt him, she just didn't want to lose him. Those words echoed louder than the gavels, louder than the reporters, louder than even the truth, because they revealed something deeper beneath the lie. Not just desperation, but calculation, dressed up as heartbreak. And while she begged for understanding, the courtroom showed her none. They showed her the law, the facts, and the fallout, because once the tapes played, once the secrets spilled, there was no putting them back in the vault, only moving forward into a storm that had only just begun. And just when it felt like the courtroom chaos had peaked, like nothing more shocking could possibly crawl out of this mess, the judge reached for a sealed folder marked Exhibit G, and the entire room tensed up like it had just heard a gun cock behind its back, because whatever was in that file wasn't just going to confirm the lies, it was about to light them on fire. The document contained a subpoenaed security cam clip from Stevie J's Miami condo, footage time-stamped on the exact day Bambi claimed she had a prenatal ultrasound. But the woman on the screen wasn't Bambi, and it damn sure wasn't Scrappy beside her. No, it was an unidentified pregnant woman, visibly distraught, clutching her stomach and wiping tears from her face. A woman who clearly had no idea her medical visit would be twisted into a primetime TV prop. And before the judge even played the full footage, murmurs erupted. Because now we weren't talking about a lie told out of desperation. Now it was identity theft, exploitation, and manipulation, wrapped in glitter and sold as reality. And just as the clip ended, the prosecution's investigators stood up with a laptop already plugged in and coldly announced 6 words that sent a chill through everyone's spine. We have the original phone recording. Not AI, not edited, but raw and traceable directly to Bambi's own device. And when that file played, wasn't a glitchy deepfake, was crystal clear audio of Bambi calmly telling someone that the pregnancy was fake, that she told Scrappy she was expecting because he threatened to cut her off, because she needed time, needed money, and because she knew a baby lie would paralyze him emotionally. Her words came out smooth like poison in a wine glass, with no hesitation, no fear. Just cold logic, as if she was narrating a script she had written in her sleep, and the judge didn't even blink. He removed his glasses, rubbed his forehead, and muttered under his breath like he couldn't believe what he was witnessing in his own courtroom. Stevie J in the corner just smirked harder, like a villain satisfied that all his chess pieces had landed exactly where he planned. And Scrappy, he didn't yell, didn't cry, didn't even blink. He just stared straight ahead like his entire world had been emptied out and laid bare in front of strangers. And then it got even messier. The next file played wasn't Bambi, but her so-called best friend, whispering what sounded like a warning. "Girl, you gonna drag this lie forever? What if they ask for proof?" And then came Bambi's voice again, slow and confident, saying they won't. "Scrappy's weak. He craves a family. This lie is my safety net." And at that moment, the courtroom no longer felt like a legal proceeding. It felt like a horror story being read aloud with receipts, because now it wasn't just about lying under oath. No, it was about emotional terrorism, financial deception, and an orchestrated character assassination of a man who thought he was building a family, and just as the tension built to the point of explosion. The courtroom doors opened again, and in walked none other than Mona Scott Young's assistant, flanked by 2 VH1 legal reps. No cameras this time, no glam squad, no laughs. Just corporate silence and tight jawlines as they delivered a private folder to the judge and quickly exited without comment. Word spread fast that it contained production schedules and unused footage proving the network may have known. The pregnancy storyline was fake, but aired it anyway for dramatic effect. And if that's true, it doesn't just indict Bambi or Stevie J. It pulls VH1 straight into the legal fire. 'Cause profiting from knowingly fabricated court-influencing narratives opens the door to media fraud, witness tampering, and a PR scandal so massive it could nuke the whole Love and Hip Hop franchise. And right there in the middle of that spiraling storm, Scrappy's attorney stood and filed a fresh emergency motion demanding full custody of his real child, arguing that a woman who faked one pregnancy could not be trusted to parent another in good faith. The judge nodded, made a note, and announced that hearings on that matter would proceed immediately after the criminal investigation wraps. Meanwhile, outside the courthouse, chaos reigned. Fans were camped out holding signs, some mocking Bambi's lies, others blaming Stevie for manipulating the whole circus behind the scenes. A few even accused the network of planting the entire plot to boost ratings and scapegoat Bambi when it backfired. And amidst the hysteria, Erica Dixon, Scrappy's ex, and longtime frenemy of Bambi, posted a now-deleted tweet dripping with shade. Something along the lines of, "God don't miss addresses, even when they come with doormen." And of course, that lit the internet on fire again. TikTok edits exploded overnight, with people stitching together clips of Bambi crying about her pregnancy alongside the courtroom footage. One creator even made a meme that went viral in hours, showing Bambi rubbing her belly in one episode and then sipping champagne in the next scene from the same week, with the caption, "Maybe the baby's due date was flexible." And fans ate it up like reality TV caviar. And still, Bambi's defense team flailed in the background, trying to plant the seed of doubt, claiming voice cloning and deep fakes and trauma manipulation. But every excuse fell flatter than her credibility, because the judge wasn't moved by tech jargon or tears. He wanted truth, receipts, and accountability. And when none of that came from Bambi's camp, he slammed the gavel and declared the perjury. Charges would proceed to trial, which meant Bambi wouldn't be walking out a free woman anytime soon. Meanwhile, Stevie J was reportedly spotted at a luxury restaurant later that night, celebrating with friends, ordering dessert like he hadn't just tossed someone under the legal bus and danced on the wreckage. And yet, no matter how smug he looked, there was something different in his eyes. A flicker of fear, maybe because while Bambi was burning, he knew the flames were licking at his boots too, especially if that alleged second recording really existed, the one whispered about by insiders, the one that supposedly captured Stevie J discussing the pregnancy scheme with a VH1 producer. Allegedly bragging about how fake drama pulls in real ratings and how nobody ever checks the facts. Once the cameras roll, if that tape drops, it doesn't just bring down Bambi, it doesn't just tarnish Stevie, it obliterates the network's entire defense strategy and leaves them exposed to lawsuits from Scrappy, from advertisers, and even possibly from fans misled by what they thought was unscripted content. And that's the real nightmare for Mona Skochung, because losing one cast member is PR cleanup, but losing the trust of the entire audience is rating suicide. And as the courthouse lights dimmed and the media vans revved their engines outside, like vultures in park mode, the aftermath was already spiraling into something bigger than even the courtroom chaos could contain, because now it wasn't just about a lie, it was about how many people knew about it and let it snowball into a full-blown televised disaster while real lives got torn apart. The court had barely recessed before Scrappy's legal team filed additional motions, not only seeking full custody but demanding repayment of all financial support he had offered during the alleged pregnancy, with interest and emotional damages attached. Sources close to the case say the documentation included timelines, screenshots, messages, and behind-the-scenes production schedules that contradicted Bambi's televised version of events and pointed directly to deliberate fraud. And as that motion hit the court clerk's desk, another story leaked like gasoline on a bonfire. A former VH1 employee anonymously posted on a gossip forum claiming that Bambi's pregnancy arc had been pitched to producers as early as last season, that she'd hinted at it being flexible in development meetings, and that no one in the room questioned her because fake baby bumps bring real ratings. If proven true, that allegation alone turns this into a media ethics scandal of epic proportions. Meanwhile, a Bambi sat in a holding cell, stripped of her glam squad and social media filters, wearing County Orange and replaying every lie in her head, hoping for a miracle. But there were none coming, because, as the DA confirmed, they were officially expanding the case to include fraud, conspiracy, and theft. The prosecution was already drawing up subpoenas for any producers who had contact with Bambi or Stevie J during the timeline in question, and if those emails or texts show collusion, it could tank multiple careers in one sweep. And speaking of Stevie, he may have looked untouchable when Bambi hit the floor, but insiders say he's been dodging calls, hiding behind lawyers, and changing cars to avoid being tailed, because while he may have delivered the tapes, he's still deeply entangled in the setup. And now that the court knows he allegedly paid off the woman whose sonogram was stolen, he could be facing charges of coercion and bribery if the mystery woman comes forward and testifies. The house of cards could tumble completely. Fans are already turning on him, because while he was once seen as the ultimate love and hip-hop villain, now he's being painted as a manipulative ringmaster who orchestrated a psychological circus for clout. And when even your own fans start calling you out for being too toxic, you know the tide is shifting fast. Meanwhile, VH1's silence has become deafening. No statements, no press releases. It's just quiet legal scrambling behind the scenes. A few crew members have started unfollowing Bambi and Stevie online, trying to scrub themselves clean of any involvement, and Mona Skochung, who built her empire on reality mess, is allegedly holding emergency meetings with legal and PR teams, trying to decide whether to issue an apology or play dumb and pretend they were just as shocked as the viewers. But the internet isn't buying it. Fans have gone full CSI, dissecting every episode frame by frame, hunting for inconsistencies and moments that now reek of deception. One viral clip shows Bambi rubbing her belly in a confessional interview, followed by a scene shot the same week where she's at a rooftop party throwing back tequila shots with zero signs of a baby bump, and the comment section is brutal, calling her performance Oscar-worthy and asking how VH1 allowed this lie to go unchecked for so long. And now a growing online petition demanding networks be held legally accountable for airing knowingly fabricated storylines is gaining serious traction. Last count over 75,000 signatures and climbing because people aren't just mad at Bambi. They're furious that reality TV has blurred so far into scripted scandal that even legal systems are getting manipulated, and amid all this, Scrappy has stayed mostly silent. No public outbursts, no tell-all interviews, just quiet focus on his daughter and family. Sources say he's writing a letter to be read in court outlining the emotional toll this has taken on him and his child. One insider leaked a section describing how he felt gaslit into believing a dream while drowning in a lie, and if he reads that in court, it could become the defining quote of the entire case. Meanwhile, Bambi's team is grasping at straws, planning to argue that she was under mental distress, that she feared abandonment, and that the lie spiraled beyond her control, but the judge has already made it clear excuses will not be entertained. The law is what matters, and so the countdown begins. The trial date is set, the witnesses are lining up, and the entire love and hip-hop universe is holding its breath, because if Stevie J flips on Bambi to save himself, and the VH1 producer gets subpoenaed, and if that second alleged tape surfaces, this won't just be the end of a storyline. It'll be the implosion of a franchise. Fans who once tuned in for petty fights and hair-pulling drama are now watching a real legal saga unfold in real time, and nobody knows how far the rot goes. Bambi's arrest may be the headline today, but the deeper story is how many people let this happen, how many played along, and how far people will go for 5 extra minutes of screen time and a storyline that trends. And the cruel irony is that in trying to create the ultimate reality arc, Bambi may have scripted her own downfall and dragged everyone else with her. What began as a fake pregnancy to lock down love and camera time has become a criminal case with the potential to blacklist producers, stain reputations, and tear down the illusion of reality TV itself. And yet, even as the storm rages, the internet is still glued to every update, every new leak, every twist in the mess that refuses to die. And maybe that's the real commentary here. We mock it, we cancel it, we dissect it, but we never look away. And Bambi, whether she meant to or not, gave us the messiest show the genre has ever seen. And now the credits are rolling in handcuffs and court orders, and nobody's calling cut. So now that the dust is settling and the courtroom doors are locked behind Bambi's final scene, we've got to ask, was this the biggest reality TV con of all time, or just the beginning of something even darker? You've seen the receipts, you've heard the tapes, and the plot twists just keep getting nastier. But what do you think? Was Bambi the mastermind pulling strings behind the scenes? Or was she just a pawn in Stevie J's game of manipulation and chaos? And let's not ignore the elephant in the courtroom. Should VH1 be held accountable for airing this train wreck if they knew it was built on lies? Sound off in the comments with your wildest theory, your hottest take, and who you think should be cuffed next. Don't just watch the drama be the drama. Smash that like button if your jaw hit the floor at least once. Share this video with every messy friend who lives for courtroom chaos. And make sure you subscribe, because this saga is far from over. We've got more leaked clips, more secret recordings, and trust, there's another scandal bubbling under the surface. The tea is still hot, and you do not want to miss what's next.